Marlbs man here from the Marlbs Cave. Want to talk to you about a new device that I laid my hands on. It's more of an accessory, actually. It's the new Apple Siri remote. The new Apple Siri remote just recently was released by Apple. And I honestly didn't think that I'd end up doing a review of this, but I kind of wanted to give my impressions of it because I was able to lay my hands on this just yesterday, and I know that a lot of people are interested in it. I wanted to take a day and play with it and see what it could do, and then kind of give you my thoughts about it. As an Apple TV user, and someone who tried numerous other streaming platforms, it was kind of a no-brainer for me to eventually decide to go with Apple TV. Apple TV made the most sense for my wife and myself because we were already in the Apple ecosystem with the Apple iPhone and the Apple iPad. So making the jump to Apple TV was not really that difficult for us. Over the years, we've owned, second generation, a third generation, and now a fourth generation Apple TV. But my wife has always been kind of complaining about the way in which the remote works. Well, for those of you who don't recall, this is the more updated remote that came with the Apple TV. And it has, your touchpad, the 6 buttons. It's okay. It's a decent remote. But like my wife, she didn't like the way that the touchpad worked. She didn't like the way that it tracked. She never felt like she was really in control. So the new Apple Siri remote addresses that issue of making the center surface here both a touchpad, and you can gesture on it and move it. I tell people that it works best with your thumb for those type of things. But it has an outer ring which allows the directional arrows to move individually. And they have a tactile feel, so you can actually click them and move your arrow around the screen that way and make selections. I felt like it was a much better experience, and I think it works very good. In addition to those 4 new buttons, Apple has also added a new power button. The power button will turn the TV and the Apple TV and your receiver on. If you are HDMI CEC compliant, with my Yamaha receiver and my LG OLED, it worked perfect, so I didn't have any issue with that. And in addition to that, they do now have a mute button. Okay, now this is a big deal, but they do have a mute button now. They've also made the up and down volume or to be more of a one singular button. I think it flows a little better. The remote is a little thicker, and then also to mimic the iPhone, it has a Siri button on the side. So when you press that, you can get access to Siri. Now, all this being said, it's a very high quality product, but it's still $69 if you just buy the remote. My understanding is if you buy the new Apple 4K Apple TV, it comes with it. Now, all that being said, I think that it's a very high quality product. I think it's well done. I think it's, marvelous. But for $70, what does it really do for me? Well, what it does is it makes it easier to control the Apple TV with the buttons, and it gives you a nicer, I think a much more blended interface. And previously, I was using my Apple remote, with a sidekick. And as you can see here, the sidekick adds the extra buttons here, and you can slide your old Apple remote here. This was kind of a kludgy solution, but it worked. It was ideal. And you could program these buttons to pretty much do whatever you wanted to do. But the new Apple TV remote, on the other hand, is a far more elegant solution. And it doesn't have as many buttons. But it does do what you need it to do. Is it worth a $60 upgrade? Well, that's for you to decide. I think in most cases, the answer is probably not if you're happy with your current remote. But if you like the new remote and you like the style and you like the look and you like the fact that it has the extra buttons, and the only thing you're not going to like about this remote is it is a little bit small and you can lose this thing. What I don't really understand is Apple with their, tag technology, in the fact that they are promoting the ability to use your iPhone to find something, doesn't have a find your remote feature built into this. That may be something that they're planning on doing in the future. I'm guessing that this remote is more powerful than the other one, and maybe that's something that they're working on. The Siri interface on the Apple TV is still, I think, in its infancy. I think it's still coming along, and I think they're still working with it. And other apps and stuff are still learning what they could do with Siri and what they couldn't do with Siri. But I do think that the addition of calling it the Siri remote will definitely put more of an emphasis on using Siri with the Apple TV. Overall, I gotta say, I think it's a fantastic product. It's a nice piece. It's a great addition if you own an Apple TV 4K. One thing I should point out is it says in the manual that it is only compatible with the 4th generation Apple TV. I don't know that it won't work with another one. That's something to test for another day. But at this point, I'll just say that it works with the 4th generation Apple TV. In case you're thinking about a purchase of a new Apple TV, a little bit of advice. I would not at all buy the cheaper Apple TV HD. I would stick with the Apple TV 4K because for $30 more, you get a much stronger processor and a much faster product. And of course, it'll do the 1080p. So you'll get an excellent experience. But I think with the faster processor and the additional power of the Apple TV 4K, it's just a no-brainer to go with that one. Beyond that, I do think, it is a good move by Apple in the right direction. So I would like it. I give it 4.5 out of 5 stars. I'd recommend it, especially if you're like my wife and you don't like the touchpad / gesturing and you want to be able to have a tactile type of feel when moving around and navigating, and that firm way to move the cursor around the screen. All right, well, this is Marlbs Man. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye now.